Afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to talk about why I have this huge pile of seeds in front of me. Well, I guess it's not huge, but why I have this substantial pile of seeds in front of me, and how I'm going to organize them, because it's time to start seeds. And right now, I just have big bags of seeds, and little bags of seeds, and empty bags with no seeds, and just stuff that's not labeled. And I mean, I know what they are, but like still there's a lot here, so I need to organize this so that I know what I can actually pull from to do seed starting, because right now is the time to start things like peppers, and also the asparagus here that I probably should have started a couple weeks ago, but I figured since I can't harvest anything from it the first year, I'm going to start it a little later, so because it doesn't really matter. Anyway, let me adjust the camera here, and we'll get to it. Okay, so since I have kind of a disorganized mess here, the first thing I'm going to do is split these up into their families. So I'm going to do peppers with peppers, tomatoes with tomatoes, flowers with flowers, and that's going to be the first thing. So let me get these bags out of the way, and let's get to it. Asparagus is probably going to go into the other category. Here's tomatoes. Leeks are going to go in the same category as asparagus, just temporarily. Cucumber, 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 cucumber. Peas. I have the peas to please. Or at least some. Sugar magnolia. They're purple. Excited to give these a try. It's a lot easier to see purple pods, so here's hoping. Super Sweet 100 tomatoes. San Marzano 2 tomatoes. I think this is Cipolla's Pride. Maybe it's Chipolis, but I think it's Cipolla's Pride. More tomatoes. And Sun Gold, more tomatoes. Sun Peach, more tomatoes. And then we got some space spinach. I quite like this variety. I'll put spinach over there because I do have a few of those. More spinach. I think I'm going to put greens together, so spinach and lettuce. Put those over here by the other category. Crunchy King radishes, French breakfast radishes, white icicle radishes, watermelon radishes, and early scarlet globe radishes. I like radishes. It's over here by the cucumbers. That is, what is this? Oregano, herbs. I'll put cilantro in with the herbs. More peas. This variety is sugar and snap peas. With my not quite so proprietary folding method that keeps the bags from popping open. Quite simple. Close your bag, fold the corners in, fold the top in the opposite directions, you fold the corners in, and that creates something that won't easily come undone. Moving on. Flowers. Sweet Alyssum. So this is Delft Blue Nigella. Sweet Alyssum. Zinnias. Sunflowers. Wild bergamot. More sunflowers. Probably should put the sunflowers kind of together. Flowers that I picked up at a wedding. My cousin's wedding was in Atlanta last year, and we picked up several flowers. They had them as not quite place setters at their tables, but anyway, I have quite a few of these, so I'll put those over in the pile. More flowers. This kind is blanket flowers, so Gagliardia pulchella. So Gagliardia pulchella, Sundance bicolor specifically. So you can kind of see it there. Flowers, flowers, flowers. Let's see, that's Mammoth Dill. Here's more Alyssum. This is the Alyssum I planted last year. Cucumbers. That kind of cucumber is... Well, before I get to that, the kind of Alyssum that I planted last year is Royal Carpet. Or actually, no, it's Oriental Nights, not Royal Carpet. I thought this was Royal Carpet the whole time. Anyway, Oriental Nights blooms purple, as opposed to the Alsam that I had earlier, which blooms white. Other than that, functionally the same plant. There. Alright, so cucumber. This variety is Marketmore. Cilantro. Green cabbage. I'm going to put my brassicas in one pile, because they're all going to go in the same bed. Alright, sunflower, giant gray striped sunflower. This is the variety I grew last year. Quite liked it. It's really fun to see the great big flowers blooming from across the yard. I have Jackby Little Pumpkins. This is probably going to be fun to grow. Guess I'll start a squash pile. I haven't found any rest, but there's a lot of stuff still in this bag. So, alright. Squash pile. Nasturtiums, that's flowers. These are clear crystals black pansies, which is a type of viola. So, yeah, I'm excited to try these as well. This old space spinach packet, that up in the greens. My ridiculously oversized borage package. I did get to hand out an entire seed packet about this size full of these to a friend of mine. So hopefully she grows them and has good success. We'll find out. Do I count this as a flower or do I count this as an herb? I mean, it's technically a flower. Although it's an edible flower, so I'll go this way. For now. I can always change this later. Calendula, orange flash specifically. More of the ones that I picked up from the wedding this time. We have Baby's Breath and Early Sensation. Gonna move my squash pile over here. Not seeds. I don't know what that is. It's not a seed though, so it can just go. Some of these were kept in the refrigerator for a while. Beans! Specifically, these are Orient Wonder. These make 2 to 3 foot long beans. Best harvested, in my opinion, when they're a little over a foot long. And they're great for stir fries. I really like these. Prolific producers as long as you stay on top of pulling them. Alright. This is the mini bell pepper blend, or mini bell blend of bell peppers. I got this at the seed swap. Where's my pepper pile? Do I have a pepper pile yet? I have a lot of piles over here. Okay. I don't have a pile yet, so I guess I'll just start one. Sure. Okay. Anyway. Paprika pepper seeds, also from the seed swap. Hungarian hot wax peppers. This is one of the ones I'm really excited about growing. That is, to be specific, this is the Johnny's Selected Seeds specific variety of the Hungarian hot wax peppers that they spent time over the last few years refining. Wasabi arugula. Technically a green, I guess. Yeah. Wild garden lettuce mix. Yeah, it might be a little hard to see the label there. This is green early sprouting calabrese. I did not have, well, let me be specific. I had great luck growing these plants, but I did not get any good harvests out of them. I did not understand what green early sprouting calabrese meant. So, green is for, I'm assuming, the color. It's green, it's broccoli, basically. Calabrese is just a fancy word for broccoli. So you have early sprouting. Now I thought this meant that it would sprout early, because green early sprouting calabrese. Like when you read the name out loud, that's what it sounds like. That is not what this means. These are 4 different things. So it is a green variety, it is an early variety, it is a sprouting variety of calabrese. So basically what this means is that you can harvest from this earlier than many other varieties of broccoli, but it's sprouting, so that means it never comes to a head. It makes little shoots, kind of like broccolini almost. And if you stay on top of harvesting that, you can get quite a number of shoots from it. As you can see, I got a lot of seeds. I got tons of seeds from it. I'm going to try growing these again, but and actually harvesting them when I'm supposed to, instead of waiting for a head of broccoli that never comes. So if you read your labels, just know that that might be something you might run into. So yeah, early and sprouting does not mean early sprouting. It is. Again, early is you can harvest it earlier than you would expect to when compared to other varieties of broccoli. And sprouting means no head, tiny florets. Okay? Goes in the pile with the cabbage. Alright, that is everything that's not in a bag. Or already in a bag. So I'm going to grab the big bag. And we're going to do these a small chunk at a time. Alright, so jalapeno peppers. Brussels sprouts. Oof. Did not have any luck with that. Onions. Yellow onions. Didn't have any luck with, I should say Spanish onions specifically. Didn't have any luck with that either. I guess I'll put that up there. Pepperoncini. These were extremely prolific, although not as prolific as this. These were both very fantastic plants last year. So Italian pepperoncini, I had hundreds of these peppers from just like 4 plants. It was great. Alright, they're about this big. They're not terribly hot. Nah, they're not hot. Not really. They have like a little bit of a burn to them, but not much at all. And even by my wife's standard, they're not that hot. And she can't handle anything spicier than like a jalapeno, really. Well, I mean, she can handle it, but it makes her stomach upset, so she doesn't tend to eat anything hotter than a jalapeno. Alright, summer squash, Ford hook. So this, we had so many of these. We had so many. This is a great variety. I really enjoyed these. They made huge yellow squash, like this big. They were huge squash. These were great. I have a squash pile. Where'd it go? Okay. I'm going to move the squash pile up here. Rattlesnake pole beans. Oxheart tomatoes. These are okay. I'll try these again. Had some blossom end rot issues, as I've covered in other videos last year. So, I'm going to try to do what I can to alleviate that better this year. Try to stay on top of watering and see if that was the problem. I believe that to have been the problem. Tomato pile is over here. Oh, look. More lettuce. Bunching onions, one of my favorite varieties of onions to grow. These I have a lot of success with. Serrano peppers. These also grew quite prolifically. Had quite a few Serrano. Quite enjoyed these. Raven zucchini summer squash. Not as prolific as the Ford hook variety, but still we got a decent number of these zucchinis, so it was pretty good. Well, now here's early green broccoli. I don't even know if I had any of these come up. Guess we'll find out. Maybe this is what that other one is, but then this shows a head. I don't think I had any of these sprout. Anyway, possibly old seeds. We'll find out. Alright, sweet pepper rainbow blend. These plants grew. They made peppers. Blossom end rot made it so that only like 2 of them were worth harvesting. I'm going to try that again. Calypso cucumbers, that over there. These did okay. We got some cucumbers, but the plants died out pretty quick when the summer came. Dwarf blue curled Vates kale. I've covered these in another video. These were fine. One nice thing about these plants is that they did not have pest problems. Unlike my favorite kind of kale, which is dinosaur kale or black magic kale, this kind had basically no pest pressure whatsoever. So these were really good in that regard. Malabar spinach. not spinach, also known as climbing spinach, or red climbing spinach in this case. Tastes like a bit like spinach, but a little bit more irony, and the leaves are thick. You can kind of tell just from how glossy the leaves are in that photo. They're almost like a succulent, but not quite. Very pretty plants, though. So even if I wasn't going to grow them to eat them, which I do like the leaves, but if to eat, I mean. But if you were going to grow something as an ornamental that was an edible ornamental, this, I think, is a solid choice. I will definitely be growing that again. Blueberries, tomatoes. Cherry tomato, savory, not sweet. Indeterminate, prolific producer of clusters of purple to red or yellow to, or purple to yellow tomatoes, depending on just which color it came out as. I'm not sure how I feel about these. I am definitely going to grow them again. This is the package that I grew the seeds from last year that I then saved seeds and took to the seed swap. So this is an older pack. There's not very many tomatoes or seeds in here anymore. So I have plenty of these seeds though, because that's what this bag right here is. I don't know if you can see that, but this bag is all these seeds, except this is this year, or last year's instead of the year before. That goes over there. We got broccolini, or broccoli, I should say. It's technically a type of like broccolini. It did okay. And then dark red beets, Detroit beets specifically. I didn't actually grow any of these, sadly. I need to try these. I'm going to have to try these probably this year. I'll put that in the other category because I really don't have that much when it comes to beets. All right. Climbing triple crop tomatoes. Those did well. Gardener's Delight. Loved these. They got pretty big, which was nice. And then another thing of blueberries, tomatoes. Basil opal. I planted this as a companion plant to my tomato plants, and it did pretty well in that regard. The nice thing about this is that it's a purple variety, so it's very colorful. That's an herb. Put that over there. Oh, look. More Calypso cucumbers. Pineapple tomatillos. Total failure last year. I don't know if it was a me problem or a seed problem. I'm going to give this probably one more try, and then if this doesn't work, I'm just going to scrap the idea of tomatillos. The sweet variety, I should say, which that's what this is. Like, kind of like a ground cherry almost. Well, actually, you know, I bought this last year. I don't remember if that's what this is. This is a tomatillo, obviously, because it says it on the package, and it is pineapple. It's supposed to be sort of fruity, but now that I think about it, I don't know if this is savory or sweet. I guess I'll figure that out. Putting this in the other category for now, even though thematically it's a bit similar to a tomato. It looks a bit like a tomato, but it's not actually a tomato. Oh, look, more broccoli that did not grow well for me. Mint. You know, ironically, I didn't get any of the mint to germinate last year. Oh, this makes me sad. All right. This is a type of winter squash known as the Festival Hybrid. Kind of like an acorn squash. They were beautiful until the squirrels got them. And the squirrels got every single one of them. So I got no good harvests, although there were probably 5 squash out of 2 plants to survive long enough to give me, you know, blooms and whatnot. Squirrels got everything. Every melon or squash of this kind, like any storable sort of squash, got completely obliterated by the squirrels. Alright, but I'm going to try it again, because they were very pretty, and I have some more ideas on how to protect them. Ooh, here's a good one. Ghost peppers! I'm going to try to grow these again. I did grow them, and my plants got stunted because I was an idiot when I was seed starting, and had the lights too close, which you can basically sunburn your plants with your lights if they're too close. You'll be able to see that because your plants will start turning purple. That's what happened for me. That stunted these plants for a long time, and it wasn't until I planted them outside and got them out from... Well, that's not true. I was able to back the grow lights off once I figured out that that's what the problem was. I backed the grow lights off, and they started to kind of recover, but it was a slow process. They really didn't take off until I put them outside. Now, that does indicate that the purple coloration may not have been entirely due to... It may not have been entirely due to the fact that the lights were too close and too strong. Could have been a nutrient problem, but I had the same thing happen to the blueberry tomato plants, and they were much bigger in a similar sized pot than these ever got. So from a nutrient perspective, and these turned purple first, so I still think it was the lights. I'm going to try it again. I'll probably start some of these soon. Brussels sprouts, Catskill. They're probably good. I wouldn't know. Mine didn't Brussels sprout. They just kind of sat there. All right. King of the Garden, lima beans. This is a pole bean variety. These were great looking over my trellis. I saved some of these. I actually have some that I stored. Here's the problem with this. I don't know what to do with these. I grew them thinking, yeah, this would be kind of cool. I like lima beans. Yeah, and then I didn't harvest enough of them regularly in order to, and this was a problem on my end. It's not that these plants did not produce. This actually was a prolific producer of lima beans. I just didn't get out there and pull them often enough. Because, you know, I had a real problem telling when you're supposed to pull the lima beans. Are you supposed to pull them when they're hard? Are you supposed to pull them when the husks that have the lima beans in them are, you know, hard and dry? Or are you supposed to still pull them when they're green? I didn't actually know, and it depends. I think the answer to that question actually depends on how tender you want your beans to be, and whether or not you intend to replant the seeds, you know, the beans as seeds. If you want to plant them, you got to let the husks basically dry out on the vine, and then you can just pull them, pop the husk open, you've got pretty hard beans ready to go. That's what I ended up saving. If you want to eat them, it's probably best to pull them right as they start to yellow. Maybe slightly before that. It would be hard to tell before that, though. So, anyway, just some hints. I'll probably try growing these again. They were beautiful plants and easily 10 foot long. They were huge. They looked really good going over my arches. So, anyway, beans. Ooh, look at that. We're halfway through the bag. There's a variety that I didn't talk about of tomato. Giant crimson tomatoes. So, I'm bumping my microphone. Giant crimson tomatoes. So Luke from M.I. Gardener found a shadow box that had an old seed packet in it. And he was able to resuscitate this breed of tomato, which had died out completely otherwise. It died out completely over the last 80 years or so. He was able to revive this breed specifically from just a couple of seeds that he was able to get to germinate from that package. Now, the package that was in the shadow box, if I remember correctly, was 80 years old or so. So kudos to him for getting those seeds to germinate, and now he has these available on his store sometimes. And he's going through efforts still to make these more readily available, because you buy this packet and you can see, you know, approximate seed count 5. So hopefully these do pretty well. I am excited to try these because they're supposed to be pretty big, and they're supposed to be a very vibrant red color that you don't generally see in tomatoes anymore. So we're going to give them a try. But I wanted to make sure I actually talked about those. Okay, Cherokee purple tomatoes. I wish I had gotten to try these. I planted them, they grew, and then blossom end rot made it so that I didn't get any good tomatoes out of them. There's always this year, I suppose. Black egg eggplants. These were fine. Didn't get a lot of eggplants from them, but they were fine. Ping tongue long eggplants. Got a ton of eggplants from these. These were very prolific. I quite like them. They're great for like stir frying with a little bit of soy sauce and maybe some ginger thrown in there and a little bit of garlic just for good measure. And then, yeah, pretty good. Savor. It's a type of melon. I specifically looked for this last year and got it, and I had some growing, and then you can probably guess what happened to these. The same thing that happened to the world's saddest watermelon. That would be the watermelon that my father grew. He was all excited to get it, and then, yeah, the squirrels got it. Squirrels got this. Squirrels got my festival squash. It was terrible. So, melon. This is a bit similar to squash in the method in which you grow the plant, so I'm going to put it with the squash. Great white tomatoes. These were fine. These plants did not grow very well around here. Now, I don't know why that is exactly. These are the only tomato plants that I planted that did not grow well. Every other tomato plant I planted, the plant grew fine, got big, set flowers, and then had, if it was a full-size tomato variety like the Cherokee Purple, it ended up having blossom end rot issues. These also had blossom end rot issues for the 2 tomatoes that I got, but these, the interesting thing about these is that they just didn't, they did taste good. Because I did get one that was decent, and that was one single tomato from 3 of these plants. So these just didn't grow anywhere near like the rest. They got about half the size of the rest and then just sat there and didn't do anything for a long time. I'll probably try these again, but then after that, if I don't get good results by then, I'm going to get rid of these. And actually, this might explain it, although probably not. If you can see, packed for 2020. So these are actually old seeds. Well, not old, but they're older than the rest. Catnip. This grew really well. Cats loved it. Slim Jim eggplants. Did okay. Not as good as the ping tongue longs. More Calypso cucumbers. More lima beans. Lavender. All right. Lavender has a very specific cold stratification process you have to do with the seeds. The easiest way to do that is to lightly moisten a paper towel. Spread your seeds out on the paper towel. Lightly moisten another paper towel. Put that over the top of the first one. And when I say lightly moisten, I mean like you can't wring water out of these paper towels. They have to be very lightly moistened. And then you take that, you put it in a little plastic bag, like a little plastic doggy bag, like you put like a sandwich in for a kid's lunch. And then you throw that in your refrigerator for weeks. A couple of weeks anyway. I was able to get these to work through cold stratifying in that process, so it worked pretty well. I have one plant that is currently out there growing. A few of these did germinate, and I just selected the one because I don't need a whole lot of lavender. I just need some. My wife likes lavender. Rapunzel hybrid. This absolutely was not Rapunzel. I don't know what this ended up being. It was not Rapunzel. This was a very strange plant, and I don't have any seeds. I don't know why I still have the bag. This is garbage. Bright Light Swiss Chard. Did well. I'm going to put this in with the greens. Though to be fair, you use it a bit differently. You can use it the same. We ended up using it primarily as a salad green. All right. Casper kale. This was the worst variety of kale that I grew last year. And I say worst in the sense that it didn't grow very prolifically. It did not produce much in the way of actually edible kale. And on top of that, the caspering, which is where it turns white here, why it is called Casper kale, did not happen. The plant died before the kale ever got the chance to really do anything. They show this one big prolific plant that looks really nice, and I thought that I would get one that would look something like this. I did not get anything that looked at all like this. I got a plant that was maybe this tall, and produced just a few little leaves and then just kind of sat there. So anyway, it is a brassica. I'm going to put it in over here with the rest of the brassica stuff. And more tomatillo seeds. All right, green machine zucchini summer squash. Did pretty well. Again, not as well as the Ford Hook variety, though. All right, I have parsley. This grew pretty well. I have 1,500-year cave beans. I have no idea what to do with these once you get them. They tasted okay. Like, they didn't taste bad or anything, but I don't know that I'm going to grow these again. Ah, black magic kale. Good stuff. Good stuff. This produced a large amount of kale, and it was delicious. My favorite kind of kale right here. Definitely going to be growing more of that. Might skip every other variety than that, actually. Ancho peppers. Oop, that's not the pepper pile. There we go. Super sweet 100 tomatoes. Italian large leaf basil. I'll be planting more of that as well. And then, what variety of broccoli is this? There's my green early sprouting calabrese, right there. And as you can see, it shows big florets. Nope, didn't get anything that looked anything like that. Maybe half that. That might have been the biggest that I got. Everything else was smaller. Now, not to say that these plants were small. These plants got 4 feet tall, at least. They were huge. Huge plants. I just didn't get hardly any flowering from them. Like the floret size was just very small. Alright, so now that I have all these piles, the things I need to specifically do first is free up some space on my counter. So I'm going to put these piles in their own individual Mylar bags. Now, you could put them in a box. I want to put them in a Mylar bag because I store my seeds, most of the time, I store my seeds in a mini fridge in the basement that no one ever opens other than me. So it's a controlled environment where it's kept cold-ish. It's kept as dark as it can be because there's no light in the fridge anyway, even when you open the door. So, yeah, I'm going to put all these seeds in these groups of seeds in their bags, and then I can just take the bags that I need. So in this case, I'm going to be looking at peppers and the other category today. I'll come back to look at tomatoes soon. Everything else is kind of up in the air as to when you start it, like radishes, for instance. I'm just going to start in ground in a few weeks. The cucumbers, I'm going to start probably indoors, but not for another month. That kind of thing. I might actually start the ping tongue long eggplants today as well. Or not, well, not necessarily today. But anyway, I got to pick what I'm going to start, but in order to have the room to do that, I need to clear a bunch of this crap out of the way. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put these in these bags. Now, I'm using a Mylar bag because the Mylar bags, and this is the kind of Mylar bag that, as you can see through one side and not the other. So I'm using Mylar bags because these are very good at protecting from moisture. So if there was any humidity changes, and right now we have very low humidity because it's winter, but if there were any humidity changes in the house, since I do store the seeds in a refrigerator, I want to keep moisture, the threat of moisture, pretty low. Right now I think our moisture level is about 28% in the house, so it's fairly low. I'm just going to put these in these bags. I'm going to seal the bags up, and then any seeds that I'm not going to seed start shortly here are just going to go back down into the fridge. The nice thing about doing it this way, I can pull the bag that I want out specifically for the kind of variety I need. So let's say I'm pulling peppers, for instance, and that means I am not exposing any of the other seeds to any new moisture in the air. I guess I have more flower seeds than I thought I did. Now, because this has the Mary Washington asparagus in it, I'm going to put this over here. for seed starting soon. The other nice thing about the Mylar bags is that if any of these seed packets that are folded should happen to unfold for some reason, it's all contained. I have never had that happen, but it could happen. I'll acknowledge that. So, best to err on the side of caution. Alright. 8 to 10 weeks before last frost. Okay. Well, it is currently 6 weeks before last frost, but it is also adding 2 weeks to that. So that puts us at 8 weeks. The extra 2 weeks, mind you, is being added specifically because even though the last frost date is predicted to be around the middle of April, that does not necessarily mean that that is when the last frost is actually going to occur. I don't trust their forecast that much, so especially with the weird weather patterns that have been going on this year. So I'm going to wait at least 2 weeks past the last frost date to plant anything in the ground that is frost sensitive, like eggplants. Eggplants like it hot, so I'm just going to start these pretty soon. So I'm going to take these, this, and this. And these are the 3 packages that I'm going to pull things from today and choose to see what goes in the garden. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful, and if it was, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. And yeah, thanks for watching. Till we talk again. Gotta move my tomato snail a little closer. But yeah, that should be good. All right. Tomato snail, are you in frame? Not quite. My wife will probably appreciate this just because I'm getting a good chunk of these seeds, a pile probably about this big here, out of our refrigerator up here. Of the more recent purchases. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, now, I screwed it up again. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and nope. I always think I'm going to be confident when I say something, and then I go to say it, and my brain goes 100% blank a quarter of the way through the sentence. Hopefully you can relate.